All right, we're going to get started in just a second.
Oh, are you kidding me?
We're just getting everything queued up. Bear with us a second.
Are you kidding me?
We all right here?
Yep. They wouldn't let me go sideways like that.
Okay. Bear with us just a second. Where are we live on YouTube?
YouTube and Instagram here.
YouTube and Instagram? All
And
right.
on Facebook. You're good on Facebook.
Okay, you need to get me on the monitor here too.
They can hear you. All right, you're good.
Bear with us just a sec, guys. We had our internet go out again today like it did yesterday. Welcome to the world of technology. Okay, well, welcome back. If you missed yesterday's session, I'm going to outline what we talked about yesterday. We did have a snafu about 10 minutes in, and we completely got dropped off, which was just loads of fun, as you can imagine. We had hundreds of people on, and boom. But we did get back on, and if you missed it, it's on my Rod Khleif official Facebook page. Yes, right, Matt? Yes, so it's there for you to watch. Now, this presentation, if you didn't hear what I said yesterday, I'm just going to be a little redundant for like 2 minutes, so bear with me if you were here yesterday. But this presentation is what I did for my warriors, which are my coaching students, okay? And we had an event here in Sarasota about 2 months ago, and 300 of my warriors here, and I presented how to raise capital, because I'm going to tell you, over these next couple of years, raising money is going to be harder than finding deals. And you know, we do these warrior events for my coaching students a couple times a year, and we go deep on stuff. And that's what we're doing here in this session, is going deep on raising capital, because it's so freaking important. So this is a lot more involved than what I teach at my boot camp. You know, I've got a virtual boot camp coming up next weekend, and you guys can come for $47. I don't sell anything there, and we just included the recordings. Did we not, Matt?
We did.
Is it already on there with that code? Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Nice.
We'll fix it so that you can actually get the recordings as well. We just decided that because I'm about getting as many people up to speed as fast as possible as we can, because there's going to be incredible opportunity. But of course, at the boot camp, I have to teach the entire multifamily process, so I can't go deep like I'm going deep here on raising capital. So again, we'll give you a code so you can come for $47. Just hang in there, you'll get it. And also have another awesome gift for you. If you've registered for this, there it is right there. Rod's Links is where you go to register for the boot camp for $47. Use the code WORKSHOP. But I also have an awesome gift for you, okay? I am putting the finishing touches on a book on raising capital. It's over 200 pages. It should be done on Wednesday. And I'm going to email you guys the PDF of it. You're welcome, okay? And it's quality product. I'm really proud of it, so you're really going to like it. So anyway, boot camp next weekend. So back to finding money. Like I said, you know, there's the soup's about to hit the fan. Huge decline in multifamily sales, 74% year-over-year decline. As you know, interest rates keep going up. There's about $500 billion worth of multifamily debt coming due this year and next year. And these operators that have these loans coming due are in a tight spot, because it's tough to sell, number one, and number two, you know, if you can't sell, you got to refinance. And look what's happened with the rates. So there's going to be some pain, even if it's just a mild recession. There's going to be some pain in the multifamily space. I think it's going to be a much more than a mild recession. In fact, I think it likely could be the greatest transfer of wealth we see in our lifetimes. But here's the thing: if you're going to capitalize on it, you need to get up to speed like yesterday. So pick a vehicle. I mean, if you're here, you're obviously interested in multifamily. There's going to be opportunities. Everything's going on sale. Businesses, you know, personal property, cars, you know, certainly all real estate asset classes. But again, you got to get up to speed fast. So here's what I'm going to go through what I went through yesterday, if you missed it, so you can go back and watch it. But the other thing about getting up to speed as fast as possible, I'm going to encourage you, if you're not already watching or listening to my podcast, start immediately. Because again, that's going to help with that. I'm blessed to say it's the largest commercial real estate podcast on the planet, really. And if you go to rodslinks.com, not only is my podcast link there, and the bootcamp link is there, There's a bunch of free books there. In fact, a book that I talked about yesterday, because this business is a team sport and you're going to have partnerships and you need to ask all the hard questions up front when you're doing a partnership, and that book is there. It's a free book. Also, my #1 best-selling book, hang on, it's right here. Grab it. Anyway, this is the book on questions to ask when forming a partnership. It's there in Rod's links, so go get it. It's awesome. It's every question you can think of to ask. And my #1 best-selling book is there. Tens of thousands of copies of this have been sold, and you can get it for free. You just pay the shipping. It's like $6, $7, and you can get that for free. And I had nothing but glowing reviews about that book. All right. So anyway, at rodslinks.com, there's tons of free resources there, and that's where you can register for the boot camp and come for $47. Now, like I said yesterday, take notes like you're going to teach this. That way you retain more, okay? And I also said this, what you're going to find is multifamily deals take money, yes, but it doesn't have to be your own money, okay? So yesterday I talked about when to start raising money. I talked about how to join or build a team, and how important that team dynamic is, and how important it is ideally to get lined up with some people that have already got some doors, so that you can use the we word and say we own 500 doors or we own 1,000 doors, right? And then we talked about what to look for in a partner. I gave you access to that book. We went through lots of questions to ask. How to protect yourself when getting in a partnership. Questions to ask. Like I said, how to create a brand. Because you've got to hang your shingle, you've got to legitimize yourself. So we talked about that. We talked quite a bit about entity structuring for your brand and also for deals. This is all yesterday. And then, we talked about creating an offering memorandum and what that looks like. And I mentioned that at my boot camp, you actually get a sample deal package that outlines, something that you could give to a prospective investor and say, hey, this is the kind of stuff we're looking for. If we find something like this, are you interested? Okay, and so you get that at the boot camp. But again, you don't have to use ours. You can just look at an offering memorandum from somebody else that's presenting a deal and modify that for your own purposes. We talked about how to create a deal webinar yesterday. And talked about how to have a pitch to an investor, some of the things you might say. We talked a little bit about syndications, so you had a basic understanding of syndications. I needed to give you a foundation. Today we're going to get into more of the meat, but yesterday was meat too, honestly, but I had to give you foundational stuff. What types of syndications there are, what you can and can't do, and we're going to go much deeper at my boot camp next weekend. I've got an attorney, Merrill Callister, coming to talk about syndications for an hour. Okay, and so, I've got a finance broker coming to talk about lending for an hour. And so the rest of the time is all me, but the point is, we can go much deeper on those things. But I want to give you an overview so you don't make a mistake when you're out there raising money. My job is not just to help you grow, but also to protect you, okay? All right, and so today we're going to talk about choosing when to start raising money. We're going to talk about where to find potential investors. We're going to spend a good bit of time talking about networking, because nothing is more important in raising money than networking. How to network, how to prepare. Then we're going to talk about how to build and nurture those investor relationships, because you got to keep that list warm. You got to keep them happy. You got to keep them interested. We're going to talk about all the different ways you can do that. We're going to talk about how to build a brand, okay? I said this yesterday, you live in the greatest freaking time on earth to build a brand with social media. It's extraordinary. My podcast is 16 million downloads. Just mind-blowing. A Facebook group that we have, largest in the world, with 50,000 multifamily investors in it. Your ability to create reach is extraordinary right now. We're going to talk about how to do that. How to use social media to do that. We'll touch on search engine optimization for investor outreach. We're going to talk about how to define your niche. The more niche you are, the better shot instead of shooting with a shotgun, you're shooting with a rifle, right? So you got to define what you're going after. We're going to talk about what to cover on that first investor call. So all of that's happening today. So let's get to it. Let's go ahead and throw the PowerPoint up. I'm going to sit down so you guys can see the PowerPoint. Will throw me in the corner on occasion. So go ahead and give us 1 second to get adjusted here. Typically, I've got 3 people doing this, but people have 6, so it's just Matt today who's kicking ass by himself. So, okay, bear with us 1 second. Okay, so go ahead and throw me in the corner for a second here. All right, there we are. So let's get into it. So where do you start? Okay, and this is and starting is probably the hardest thing for most people. You know, they don't know how to start. And I'm going to tell you, don't overthink it. Okay, what you want to do is you want to start with the people you know, your friends, your family. That's where most people start, and that's fine. And so, you know, that's the low-hanging fruit. And this low-hanging fruit dynamic comes into play in lots of different areas of this business. Okay? And by the way, at the end of this, for about 30, 45 minutes, we're going to have panelists on, probably close to $1 billion represented by the panelists that'll be on today. I'm guessing that's about what we had yesterday. And to answer your questions. So as you're going through here, if you want to throw a question up, that's fine. But we're going to try to answer all your questions before we cut loose today. So anyway, low-hanging fruit. So when I talk about low-hanging fruit, let me just sidebar for just a second. It also applies to where you're going to buy. And one of the things we talk about in my boot camp is creating your investment criteria. So you're, again, I'm sorry about the analogy, but you're not shooting with a shotgun, you're shooting with a rifle, because there's a lot of multifamily property out there. So you got to figure out where you're going to buy, what size you're going to buy, what asset class you're going to buy, and hone that down as much as you can. And when I say low-hanging fruit, if you live in California, don't invest in Boston, or vice versa. Stay closer to home. So there'll be lots of examples of that in this business where you don't have to push the envelope because it's unnecessary. And the same thing here with investors. So go to family and friends. But let me say this to you, okay? And hear me right now. Do not go to family and friends if you are dabbling in this business, okay? Get your butt to my boot camp and learn this business, really learn it, especially if you're taking money from family and friends. You do not want those awkward Thanksgivings and Christmases if somebody lost their money. Ask me how I know. You heard me yesterday, you know, I always say at my boot camps, ask me how I know, because I made every freaking mistake you can possibly make, and when 2008 and 9 happened, you know, I had my brothers in some deals, and it sucked for a long time, I got to tell you. I mean, you know, I can't blame myself because countries went bankrupt then. You know, for those of you who know me, I lost 50 million bucks then. But the point is, don't dabble. So if you shouldn't dabble anyway. If you're taking anybody's money, you should be studying this and learning it and aligning with people and that know the business and really doing it right is the bottom line. But you start there. So how do? You start and make a complete list of everyone you know, okay? And you need to use a CRM. I would not use Excel, although you could, but I wouldn't, because there are awesome CRMs out there. We're going to talk about those a little bit more in a minute, and I'll give you more examples of which ones I recommend personally. I'll tell you right now, the one I love is HubSpot. That's what we use. It's extraordinary, and they have a free version, but I'll give you some others here in a second. But that's how you get started, okay? So start with friends and family. Now, where do you find potential investors? I tell my warriors this. Anywhere someone hangs out, you need to be there, okay? And if they hold still long enough, they need to know what it is you do, okay? And that's a quote. If they hold still long enough, they better know what it is you do. So church, you know, your kids' soccer games, you know, I'll tell you, health club. I met one of my largest partners. We had lockers next to each other in a health club. It was a cool health club where we had our names on little brass plates on the lockers, really high-end health club. And I met the guy just shooting the shit and did millions of dollars worth of deals together. You know, meetup groups, fantastic place to meet people. And I'm going to tell you, you can absolutely create your own. My warriors, some of my coaching students have created meetups. In fact, one of the largest groups of meetups was created by my warriors. And so, you know, go to your local meetups and see how they do it. Actually, if you ping me, I'll give you some feedback on how to do it myself. I've got a document I can give you. But the point is, you can absolutely do your own as well, even if you only start with 4 or 5 people. But I'm going to tell you, here's the thing. You know, social media hasn't been around that long, okay? And if you listen to my podcast, you know, you'll hear, you know, me talk to people that have 5, 6, 7, 10,000 doors, and most of them started pre-social media, and they all started with real estate investor club meetings or meetups. And so you don't need 16 million downloads or 50,000 people in a Facebook group. You get a couple hundred people together, and you're adding value to them. You'll be able to raise money, so just remember that. Okay, so like I said, Real Estate Investor Association meetings, REA meetings, any networking events, you know, Chamber of Commerce meetings, Toastmasters, things of that nature. There's these, what do they call it? Is it ENI groups? You know, these business groups where they allow one type of each type of business in the group and they send each other referrals. So just get out there, and we're going to talk about how to do this and how to network here in a minute, and especially for those of you that are introverted and don't love it, I'm going to give you some great tools to use. But you can also do presentations to groups. You see this all the time. You especially see this in the financial services industry, where you'll get a card in the mail that says, "Hey, free dinner at Ruth Chris. You just got to suffer through an hour of our presentation." But even then, if you find groups that you think could benefit from investing in multifamily, go talk to them. It doesn't matter if there's only 20 or 30 people there. I sometimes go to local meetups here with 20 or 30 people in it, and just to hone my speaking speaking skills, just to become better so I don't fumble like I just did, and I enjoy it, and so. But anyway, so these are all types of things that you can do to find potential investors. Okay, now let's talk about networking. Okay, now if you are introverted, like I used to be, put me back on. Okay, if you are introverted, like I used to be, what I used to do, true story, was I had a note card of questions in my back pocket, and I told myself 5 seconds of courage. And I'd walk up to somebody and say, "Hey, I'm Rod, I don't think we've met." And then I would just start asking questions, okay? And if you haven't read the book, How to Win Friends and Influence People, read it, okay? Now you can take me off for a second because I want to go through these points here. Thanks. So if you're introverted, that is a great way to get past it. Make a list of questions so you're not fumbling, okay? And if you're asking them questions, not only are you driving the conversation, but they're the ones doing most of the talking, and they think it's the greatest freaking conversation they've ever had. Now, here's what's important, and they talk about this in the book, How to Win Friends and Influence People, Dale Carnegie's book, is to have an incredible curiosity in that person. Don't focus on meeting everybody at that event and capturing the highest number of cards. Focus on deeper conversations with people. Okay, go ahead and put me back on. Okay, and then again, yes, you always follow up, but don't be the person, and again, this is me looking in the mirror saying this, don't be the person that's talking to somebody and looking over their shoulder or trying to answer that question and move on to the next person. And I'm the worst at it, okay, because my mind moves so fast, I just don't have the patience for it. And this is why, candidly, why introverted people are actually better communicators if they push themselves, because they are good at these deeper conversations. Extroverted people like me, type A squared people like me, it's much more of a surface communication initially. And so, but have deeper conversations because that's how you're going to get people to trust you and rely on you and want to do business with you, okay? And let me mention one other thing that's not in the notes here, and that is, go ahead and put me on the screen for a minute. I want to talk about something off topic here. Okay, so if you don't love this business yet, if you're not sure if you love multifamily real estate investing, it's okay. Okay, and I tell my students this, my warriors this. If you don't love it yet, you can learn to love anything. And there's a point to this, so hang with me here. You can learn to love anything. But I'm going to tell you, if you can't learn to love this, now what I tell them, you can learn to love it by associating it to hunting for buried treasure. Because that's what you're doing when you're out there looking for deals. You can associate it to hunting for buried treasure. But if you can't learn to love it, for God's sakes, go do something else. Life is too freaking short. But here's what the big deal is. If you love it, you're going to be passionate about it. And if you're passionate about it, you're going to be able to influence people, okay? And of course, if you're passionate about it and you love it, you never work another day in your life because you're doing what you love and work is play. But that passion is super important. So again, you can learn to love anything, even exercise. I've got a big exercise room down there, and you can learn to love it. And in fact, I just got a cold plunge, and I'm going to reassociate myself with learning to love that. In fact, I think I'm starting today. I had some surgery, and I couldn't start yet, but I think I'm starting today. But anyway, so this is me looking in the mirror. I got to learn to love that. But anyway, throw the PowerPoint back up, buddy. Okay, so this is how you get started. 5 seconds of courage, okay? And so before you start communicating or going to network at an event, you need to think about it. Don't just show up. You have a little pre-planning, okay? Make sure you're organized. You got to have the business cards for yourself. and set some outcomes. Maybe, do you know who's there? Is there someone you definitely want to meet? If there's a big hitter there that you definitely want to meet, do some research on that person, okay? Establish some goals for that event. How many people you want to have deep conversations with? Are you clear on what you can bring to the table, okay? And even if it's just your passion and enthusiasm, how many connections do you want? What are your multifamily goals for the event? Are you looking to raise money, find deals, get referrals? Have you practiced your elevator pitch? We went through some examples of that yesterday, and if you didn't watch yesterday, go back and watch it. Okay, you don't have to stop this and go back and watch it. Do it later. But a lot of valuable stuff we went through yesterday. I hope you all agree. Those of you that watched yesterday. So and practice that pitch. Okay. Have you listed ways that you can add value? Okay, and so in this business, because it's a team sport, there are several hats you can wear in this business. You can be the one that's out there finding the deals, building broker relationships. You can be the one that's raising money, investor relationships. You can be the one that does the underwriting if you're super analytical. Maybe you've got process experience, management experience, construction experience. Project management experience. You could be the asset management piece. Now I'm going to tell you, when you approach a team that you want to work with, and because I highly recommend you do that, that you approach a team that you want to work with. When you do that, if you can raise money or bring deals, you're in. Okay, those are the two biggest things. Okay, so you're in the right place, I guess is my point. So again, have you done your research? Have you thought about how you could potentially add value to the people you meet? Have you researched who's expected to attend, the types of people that are going to be there, so you're not shell-shocked? Have you practiced what you're going to say? Maybe an icebreaker, like I said, the 5 seconds of courage. Hey, I'm Rod. I don't think we've met. Why are you here? What do you love about this place? Again, have a list of questions in your back pocket that you can, so you're not fumbling, you can review before you go talk to somebody. Are you dressed appropriately? This is one I struggle with because I don't care about it as much anymore. I stand in front of thousands of people here in flip-flops, and I'm migrating to shorts even. So my point is, but is there a dress code? Should you be appropriate for that? I'll tell you a funny story. I don't know, you may not think it's funny. I think it's funny. I went to NMHC right before COVID, which is the National Multifamily Housing Conference, and there were 5,000 people there. And when I tell you that I'm the only one that didn't have a jacket, I am not exaggerating. I was in my black V-neck t-shirt like I always wear. Anyway, just as an aside. But dress code is important. You should take it more seriously than I do, especially if you're trying to build investor relationships. Okay, so some more questions about networking. And yeah, this is what I just talked about. Am I focusing on the person that I'm talking to, or am I scanning the room, which is super rude? And again, I'm horrible at this because my brain is all over the place. But super important that you give them your full attention. You know who's awesome at this is Tony Robbins. I've seen him do this because I worked with him for a while, and he is like totally focused on the person he's talking to the point where the rest of the world falls away. And I've seen him literally have a conversation with somebody for 30 minutes while 3,000 people are waiting in an audience. That's how seriously he takes it. And you should take it that seriously as well, because people feel so heard and so validated. They're like, my God, I love this person. When you're answering questions for them. So again, are you looking at your phone while you're talking to people? Super disrespectful. Okay. And then am I really listening, or am I just listening to form a response? Okay. And again, this is one I struggle with as well, but these are all, I know this is simple stuff, common sense stuff, but it's super important when you're building these investor relationships, okay? Am I being salesy or pushy? Am I going right into talking about deals, or am I being more personal, And I'm going to tell you, be more personal. And by the way, guys, it starts by building rapport. It starts by building rapport. So what do I mean by that? I mean, when you first meet someone, don't go right into some pitches or anything like that. Used car salesmen are the worst at this, okay? Matt, put it on me again for a minute. I want to talk about this and have them see me. So when you meet someone, try to find commonality. Try to find a connection. Women are great at this. Men aren't so great. Women are like, oh, I love your top, love your shoes. Men can't do that. But, men can say, hey, how about those Broncos or something like that, But try to build rapport first before you get into any meaningful conversation. Now listen up when I say this, okay? When two people are in rapport, truly in rapport, what's interesting is if you watch people that are in rapport, they actually start moving the same. If one person goes like this, the other person will go like this. If one person crosses their legs, the other person will cross their leg. They start breathing the same. It's fascinating if you study this like I have. But here's the bottom line. If two people are in rapport, whoever has the most confidence about the subject matter being discussed will always, always, always influence the other person. So remember, let me say that again. When two people are in rapport, really in rapport, whoever has the most confidence and expertise really about the subject matter being discussed, they will always influence the other person. Okay, so remember that. So rapport is critical. Okay. It's on the next slide. Boom. I'm getting a little ahead of myself. So, am I trying to build rapport? Find similar interests. Like I said, find commonality. Anything, and it can be anything. It can be a pet. It can be the environment. It can be the speaker there. It can be the group. It can be whatever. Just figure out something that you agree on and find commonality. And and then, am I only talking about real estate? You shouldn't be. Go ahead and take me out of the corner. I'm only talking about real estate. Talk about other things. Talk about the weather, the interests that you have. Your family, their family, whatever. Be fun, be interesting. And again, if you love in this business, you're going to have passion, and they're going to feel it. People want to work with people that are passionate. Now here, this is super freaking important. The minute you're done with a conversation, before you go talk to anybody else, grab a pen and write notes on the back of their business cards so you remember them. And even better yet, take a selfie with them, okay? So you remember what they look like. And when you call them, you can ping up a picture. Hey, I don't know if you remember me. This is me. That is a ninja trick right there. Super good strategy. Where you take a selfie, and I know people that do this, and they're masterful at it. Okay. Now, let me tell you, as another aside, don't put me up again. As another aside, there are people that I call super networkers. Okay, and you know who they are. They're the people that you meet that they discover what you want, and they are meeting other people, and they connect you with people that have what you need. That's super networking. And boy, if you can do that, I can tell you, you're off to the races. I heard a conversation with a billionaire yesterday, actually, and this is a trigger. And somebody asked him what the secret to his success was, and he said, "Is my love and push and focus on networking. That was the secret to his success." So there you have it. That's why I'm spending some time on this. I already had this set up, but that's why how important this is. So again, take notes so you know who they are. Take notes so you think about how you can help them, and if you can take a selfie, that's even better. Okay. Right, and then when you get back to your hotel room or home, immediately review your notes, add to them, enhance them, and review them one time so you don't forget anything, okay? Because you won't remember everything, and you'll be moving fast in the heat of it. But add to those notes. And then what you do is you just reach out to anybody that added value to you, gave you referrals, did you a favor after the event. Of course you're going to do that. And then after that, you're going to follow up with every single person you met, okay? That right there is the most important piece of this whole thing, is the follow-up. You have to follow up, okay? If you just collect business cards and hand out business cards and leave it at that, you haven't done a thing. Nothing. Waste of time, okay? It all relies and ends, it lives and dies by your follow-up. By the way, if you're not hydrated, drink some water. If you're tired, drink some water. Typically, when you are tired, you're dehydrated, so I need some water. All right, so you follow up. Great meeting you. And then you set up a call. Hey, listen, I'd love to get on a call or a Zoom call and see how I can add more value to you, okay? And if you promise something and you feel, and you have any way to already add some value to them with some educational piece or some other thing, one thing I used to do, put it back on me, one thing I used to do when I would go to an event. I am incredible at taking notes, okay? I type like much faster than most people even talk, okay? I'm just a great typist. And so I take incredible notes. And I would always send my notes to the people that I met at an event. And I don't know if you've ever seen that picture of me with my arms out with all the lanyards around my neck, hundreds of events and boot camps and workshops that I've been to. And so, I mean, I do this a lot, and that was one way of me to add value to the people that were there that may have missed something, and they're always super grateful when I do that. And so, but again, it's all in the follow-up. It's all in the adding value. And again, why am I belaboring all this? Because this is how you're going to raise money, guys. This is it, right here. It's building these relationships, deeper relationships, friendly relationships, adding value wherever possible, and following up. That's the secret to this whole thing. Okay, so now let's dig into the follow-up, okay? So how are you going to nurture these investor relationships? How are you, and I apologize for we didn't reposition these slides, we should have, because again, I presented this, I was on stage at my Warrior event. We probably should have had the right corner empty so that I didn't have to go back and forth like this. But anyway, I just wanted to share this with you because it's so valuable and it's so timely right now. So, how do you nurture those relationships? Of course, phone calls. You know, phone calls on a consistent, regular basis. Emails, newsletters. You know, if you're buying in Kansas City, you should have a Google alert that any articles that show up on Kansas City, and certainly the positive ones, that you forward, you know, you curate them, you have a swipe file it's called, and you curate them and forward them to people that, you know, that you've met and say, hey, this is why we love this market, whatever that market is, right? You can do group meetings. Okay, this is very common. In fact, we're probably going to be doing one in a couple of months for our investors, where we just meet and break bread and get to know each other and talk about what's going on. You can do webinars and PowerPoint presentations. You know, we do that a lot. And with our investor relations, you know, I spend time educating them. That's one of the things. That's one of the things that I do. And so, you know, you can do a PowerPoint presentation. Go ahead and throw me a map. So, you know, one of the things that, you know, we have a lot of passive investors that invest with us, and our website is creecapital.com. Don't go look at it now because you'll miss stuff, but the point is, write that down, Cree Capital, so you can get an idea what a website should look like. By the way, we're completely redoing it, implementing a lot more video, so really make a note to check in about 30 days. But the point is, where was I going with that? I lost my train of thought. Well, anyway, throw this slide back up. I forgot where I was going. Oh, I remember now. Webinars and education. So one of the things we do is we educate our investors, and you can do the same thing. The more you educate and add value, the more valuable you are, right? And so, you know, one of the things we do with ours is we'll do behind the scenes stuff. Here's what's happening at the property. Here's what we did. Here's why we did it. Because some of our investors may want to become an active operator at some point. You know, that's what I teach. That's what I do. And by the way, even if you're watching this and you're thinking you're just going to be a passive investor, get to my boot camp so that you have a basic understanding of this business. You know, why would you invest in anything if you don't have at least a basic understanding of what it is that's done? So many. Oh, yeah, there you go. Thank you. You threw it up there. So if you're interested, right now you can come for $47. It's next weekend, Saturday and Sunday, from 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. Eastern, so we don't kill the people in California. 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. And it's $47. I don't sell anything there. You get my recordings of the event. You get my deal evaluator software, right? They get that. They get the document library. I mean, hell, those bonuses are worth freaking $10,000. You come for $47 freaking dollars. So listen, if you're interested in this business and you have not been to my boot camp, you are insane if you don't come. And if you can't make it, at least get the recording so you can watch it later, because people rave about it. I've had thousands of people attend. And the only complaint I ever get that the breaks are too short, because I do 15-minute breaks every couple hours. Trust me, they're harder on me than they are on you. But anyway, so educating your investors is nurturing those relationships. That's the best thing you can do, okay? All right, what's next here? All right, so now let's talk about, I don't know if I have any questions on that. That was fairly standard stuff. Okay, all right, thanks, Yahoo, let's go. Okay, no questions yet. All right, so that was pretty basic stuff, but it's important stuff. I hope you realize that, and I spent time on it because it's super important. People overthink this whole raising money thing. They think, oh, it's all about sales funnels and marketing and so on and so forth. No, It's about personal freaking relationships. It's about networking. It's about building solid relationships. That's the most important thing. So now let's talk about creating a brand. And you live in the greatest time on earth, like I said, to do that. It's incredible time to create reach. There's so many incredible social media options. So I would encourage you, pick one and go kick ass with it, okay? Facebook, LinkedIn, those two are incredible. Instagram, believe it or not, is incredible. You know, I'm streaming. By the way, guys, if you're watching me on Instagram or is it YouTube?
Just fucking died out.
Oh no. Oh Jesus, not again. Okay. I don't know if you guys can still hear me. It died out like it did yesterday. Okay, I think it's still on. I hope it's still on. We're gonna hope it's still. It's not loaded here. It knocked out here. Let me see. Reload page. Okay. I don't know if you guys can hear me or not. We're coming back. We're gonna come back up, hopefully. Yeah, it kicked everybody out. Did you completely reboot us?
Yeah, just restarted.
You just restarted? Okay. Waiting for live signal. Good. I'll bet it was that Comcast stuff.
You're back.
I'm back?
Yep.
Okay. Doggone it, guys. This is the exact same darn thing that happened yesterday. It's so freaking frustrating. It says it's waiting for a signal here.
Refresh it.
Refresh it?
Yep.
Okay. Bear with me, guys. Just give us a second. We want to let people come back on. I'm so sorry. I pay $1,000 a month for fiber here, and this crap happens. I'd love 5 minutes in a room with the CEO of Comcast. I tell you, he'd regret it. So freaking frustrating. Bear with me, guys, because we had a lot of people on, and people are coming back on now. So, do you want to post on there to go back on the link? Are you posting? Okay. By the way, guys, as I was about to tell you, if you're on YouTube or LinkedIn, or YouTube or Instagram, go over to Rod's links and so you can ask me questions, because I can't see questions because the phones are back there, and then we die out. So you're like, maybe I better stay where I'm at. But bear with me, because we've lost a lot of people. So, are you posting in the thread? Yeah. Okay. So guys, just bear with me, and post in the multifamily group as well. I'm seeing that came up. So bear with me, guys. We're gonna take 2 or 3 minutes to let people pop back on. You don't want to miss the last part of this, trust me, and I'm so sorry that this happened. So frustrating. Let's give it just another couple minutes, because we're like at about a fifth of what we had before, so hopefully people will find their way back. You just tell them to refresh and go back on? What are you telling them? You should instruct them, honestly.
I'm trying, yeah, there's just a bunch of different,
Okay.
that restarted a bunch of times.
Okay. Okay, bear with us just another minute or so, guys. Go to the bathroom, grab something to drink or something. I don't want people to miss what I'm going into next, because it's so freaking important. All right, we're getting people back slowly but surely. Is there anything I can do on my end, Matt? Ed says I never left for him.
Because he's on Zoom.
Oh, because he's on Zoom. Okay. That's why. Okay. Well, we won't do it on Facebook again. We'll do it on Zoom. So, okay, we're scrolling back up here, and people will be able to come back and watch the first part of this, I suppose. Let's give it 3 or 4 minutes, guys. I appreciate your patience. By the way, those of you that are here, I want to freaking salute you. You're here on a Saturday to improve your life, to become better. And I just salute you. It's really impressive, and there's no question success is inevitable for you. If you're willing to put this kind of time in, success is going to happen. There's just no question. Whatever your version of it is, whatever that definition is for you. So, all right, we're getting closer. Did you make notes in the group and on?
Yeah, it's just, I'm dealing with something else right now.
Okay. We're getting there.
It's because there's 4 streams right now, so everybody's all over the place.
Okay. Bear with us, guys. He's just trying to get some of the other people positioned. If you got a question and you're on right now, and you want to throw a question up, how do I find the questions? There we go, comments, there we go. If you got a question, just throw it in the comments. I don't know how how to see the, oh, I do full screen, hold on. No. There it is. Okay, now I can see the comments. Oh, thanks, Marie. Thank you. Best way to spend a Saturday. Thank you. I appreciate that, brother. Appreciate that a lot. Yeah, YouTube. We tried YouTube and oh no, maybe YouTube is better. No, actually, it wasn't YouTube that screwed up on us. It was something else. Deal Analyzer new this year, Kashif? Yes, it is. It is new this year, and our Deal Analyzer is kick ass. Okay, one of the guys on my team built it, and it is really good. So, yeah. So Javier, just reach out to my team. We'll take care of you. Just DM me for that. Yeah. Okay. Any questions, comments? Just bear with us. Okay, we're still scrolling, but slowly. We're just giving another minute, Matt.
Yep.
Okay.
I got them all down. Just posted them back.
Okay. Okay. Just give us just another minute, guys. Thank you so much for your patience. You should use Restream. You know, when we do that, when we use Restream, we hardly get any. It's like it gets no reach at all. It gets no coverage on Facebook. Kashif, you should just come to the boot camp if you've already come. YouTube Live. Okay, yeah, questions. Anyway, all right. All right, I'm going to go ahead and get started. It's not fair to everybody else, I suppose. Should I go ahead and roll here, Matt? Okay. All right. So, like I said, we live in the. Go ahead and just throw me on the screen for a little bit. Okay, we live in the greatest time on earth to build social reach, and so if you're intimidated by it, you're just going to have to suck it up, because if you're not using it, candidly, you're crazy, because there's so many opportunities now. And I will tell you, I didn't even have a chance to modify this too much for Chat GPT and the AI solutions that are out there. They're extraordinary. And we're just learning them ourselves. I mean, it's all brand new and it's like changing daily. And so I would encourage you, you know, the more you can embrace that stuff and become better at it, it minimizes the amount of effort you put into things. Like I'm writing a piece today for my podcast. Excuse me, for my podcast about the importance of your mission, and I did it previously, and I threw it into ChatGPT and just completely reworded it and added things that were things that I had missed the first time. Man, this is incredible. And so, you know, and it'll help you throw content out there to add value to investors, right? And so the key is pick your and those of you coming back, I really apologize. I pay $1,000 a month for fiber here, and it's just astounding that it goes down. I think that's what happened. We're not sure. But anyway, so pick your vehicle, whatever it's going to be. I'm sorry, vehicle's wrong. Your platform is really what I want to say. Go ahead and throw the slide back up for me. So pick your platform. You can leave me off so they can see the whole list. I would not do TikTok, personally, by the way, okay? I don't know, I shouldn't say that, because they do have evergreen stuff there now. They recently did start doing evergreen stuff. They weren't before. If you went on there and you did something, it was gone after you did it. But I think they do have recordings now, so maybe I shouldn't be so flippant about that. But I will tell you, there are lots of investors on Facebook, LinkedIn, believe it or not, Instagram, Twitter, of course, you know, in Facebook groups, on YouTube, and so figure out, you know, Twitter, podcast, Clubhouse, TikTok. Did I say TikTok? I meant to say, did I say?
Clubhouse. You said TikTok. It's Clubhouse.
I meant Clubhouse, guys. I said TikTok and I meant Clubhouse. Although, I don't think TikTok's worth it either. Do you? Matt handles my social. You know, we're on the fence about TikTok and Clubhouse. I'm just going to tell you right now. But these other ones are fantastic. I would focus on one of the other ones first, candidly, because I want to help you create reach as fast as you can. But here's the thing. You want to think about how you might do this. And there are lots of ways to do it. And one of the ways might be to interview people. That's what I did on my podcast. You can literally fake it till you make it. Because if you're interviewing people in a meetup group, on a podcast, on a YouTube channel, you know, things like that, if you're doing that, you're perceived as the expert because you're the one interviewing them, right? Put me back on. So it's extraordinary, and like I said, you're kind of acting as if you're faking it till you make it, which is a great way to do it. And you know, I've got warriors that have started probably a couple dozen that have started podcasts. A couple of them are award winning, and so you know, podcasts, meetup groups, Start a YouTube channel and just start doing videos. And yes, the first few will be cringe. Trust me. Ask me how I know. I looked at some of the shit I did 6 years ago, 5 years ago, and I'm like, oh my God, that's terrible. But you get better and better as you become more comfortable. Now maybe it's writing articles or taking an article and rewriting it and sending that in a newsletter or sending articles, like I say, to your list. Now, so pick the medium that you're going to enjoy. Pick the modality that you're going to enjoy, whether it's video, whether it's audio, like on a podcast. Although I would recommend you do both. If you're going to podcast, you do video and audio. Or if you're just going to send out blog articles or regular articles. Okay, throw the slides back up for a second here. Okay, so pick your platform, and I would recommend you start with one. Now, can you take clips and throw them on all the other ones? Yes, you can use a platform like Hootsuite, that's one of them, isn't it? Where you can spread your stuff around all of them, but I would encourage you to focus on one. Don't try to be all things to all people when you get started. Okay, so here's the two most important pieces of this whole conversation about building reach, and that is you've got to be consistent and you've got to add value. And I tell people, I counsel people on starting a podcast all the time, and if you want to start one, ping me and I'll help you, okay, on DM. But here's the thing, and this is the thing I tell you, don't start it unless you're going to do it every freaking week, okay? Otherwise, don't even bother. And that goes for any of these other modalities and these other platforms. You got to be consistent. I can tell you, I think I've missed one podcast episode in a week when I was really sick. And I don't mean a little sick, I mean really sick. But since then, even if I feel like crap, I get my episodes out, okay? And that consistency is critical. And then, so consistency. Then the second thing on adding value. Yes, you can use ChatGPT, but if it sounds vanilla, if it's crap, you're going to be perceived as crap. And I'm sorry, but that's the truth of it, okay? So put out quality content, put out real value, do your research, spend time on it, and I'm going to tell you, again, you don't need 16 million freaking downloads. You need maybe 100 to 200, ideally 1,000, honestly, but even if you just have a few hundred people that look forward to your content, that you're adding value to, my God, you'll raise the money you need to raise. I'm just telling you, okay? Super important. So take me off for a sec so we see the whole thing here for a sec. Okay, so and when you are adding value, and by the way, it's called education-based marketing, guys. That's really what you're doing, is education-based marketing here. And so you build that credibility by adding that value and educating. And that's all I've done. I've written, I don't know, a dozen books that I give away. Some of them are on Rod's links, and sometimes I'll put them on the Facebook group and I'll say, hey, this is, we'll talk about property management, and put the word management in to get that book, and then we'll send you a link, and we'll get your email address and maybe your phone number so that we build our list, and that's what you're going to want to do. You're going to want to build a list. We're going to talk about that more in a minute. But the most important thing you're trying to build is trust. And when you're educating and adding value, you're building trust, okay? And so you're ultimately going to need one-on-one relationships, but you start them through social media. And I can't tell you how often I've heard this when I get on the phone with like a new lawyer or something, they're like, holy cow, I can't believe I'm actually talking to you. I've had your voice in my ear for years. And of course, I never grow tired of that. It makes me feel incredible. But that's the power of that, is the point I'm saying there, is the power. And you want to be perceived as an expert. And if you're supplying expert information, even if you curate it from an article that you get or you send the article, you're perceived as an expert. If you're interviewing someone on YouTube, on a podcast, or in any one of those places, and you're just doing interviews and interviewing an expert, like you bring me in. I can't tell you how often I'm interviewed. Probably a dozen, 2 dozen, probably a dozen to 20 times a month I get interviewed, and sometimes I do it just to help somebody that's starting out. That's definitely my warriors. Anytime one of them asks, I'll go on a podcast, even if I'm the first episode. But typically, I like to see 1,000 testimonials. Reviews on a podcast before I go on, because time is all I have. But but I try to help as many people as I can, and I'll help you too, okay? So there's that. All right, so you need to create what's called a lead magnet or a lead generator, okay? So what does that mean? That means something of perceived value, but it's got to not just be perceived value, it's got to have real value, okay? It can't just be a great headline that sounds good and then they get it and it's a piece of crap. It's got to be something good. And in fact, this was my first lead magnet. I wrote this book, took me frickin' forever, because when I started my podcast, I didn't sell anything. In fact, if you listen to the first few episodes, I said, I'll never sell you anything, because I never intended to. I just wanted to add value. And now I'm a liar because I sell all coaching and courses and everything else. And then people were asking for, hey, can you give us information? And I used to send people to one of my competitors to buy his courses and stuff. And then finally I'm like, okay, well let me write a book. And so I wrote this book, and it's kick-ass. I'm gonna tell you, it's awesome, and you can get the physical copy for like $6 or something on Rod's links. But I gave away 20,000 copies for free, the PDF of it. So I got 20,000 email addresses, right? So that's what I'm talking about as a lead magnet. And you can do the same thing. Now you don't have to write. I mean, this took me probably 2 years to write. It's really good. I'm bragging, but it is worthy of that. I just got that spam.
Yeah, me too. Just click through it.
Okay.
I don't know.
Are we still on?
Yeah.
Okay. God, we're never doing this on Facebook again. I tell you that right now. We're gonna do it on Zoom. We just got spam notified. All right, whatever. Don't get me started on censorship. That's a whole nother topic, rabbit hole we won't go down. But anyway, but you need to create something that allows that's valuable enough for people to give you their information. And people hold on to their freaking email addresses. I don't know about you, but I'm probably at 400 or 500 emails a day right now, and it's maddening sometimes. And so, come up with something of quality that you can put out there, give away for free, and then if you start getting interviewed, you can use that as a lead magnet. We don't allow it on my podcast, but when I go on other podcasts, I'll mention lead magnets, and I even have a text code, like if you text Rod's links is it links or Rod's links? Just links. Just links. If you text links to 72345, you'll get a text back that says Rod's links and has or if you text, management, you'll get my property management book, or if you text GP questions, you get a list of questions, it's a 5-digit code, 72345. That's expensive, by the way. It's easier to just do full phone numbers. But the point is, those are all lead magnets, okay? And you need to create something for yourself. Now, you could, but you can also, of course, write articles, curate articles, interview experts. We talked about that. You can have panelists answer questions. In fact, I'm on a panel, I think tomorrow. Yeah, I think tomorrow. I'm pretty sure I'm on a panel tomorrow with a couple of heavy hitters to talk about what's happening economically on somebody else's podcast. So that's what he does. In fact, I remember doing a panel on that same show, single family against multifamily. And of course we kicked their butts, but multifamily is better than single. I'm sorry, it just is, but for a lot of reasons. But the point is, you can do panelists. But any educational content you can put out there that adds value, you can use as a lead magnet and start collecting and start a list. And that's what you need to do. And don't overthink it. Just put something really quality together, and that's what you do. Now, you need to have some basic understanding of search engine optimization. Okay, and it revolves around keywords. So you should research what keywords someone might search to invest passively in real estate. There's a lot of common sense component to this, but you can research this. You can. By the way, where would they research? On Google AdWords?
Yes.
I'll say on Google AdWords, you would research this. By the way, if I have time, I'm going to go into some of my creating reach course. I did a whole course on this. It's like $1,500 on my website. By the way, if you want it, I'll just mention this. You can have it for a third of that, like $400 or $500. But just DM me if you want the course. But I'm going to try to, depending on, because I might be moving a little quick right now, and if I get through these slides, I'm going to throw some of my slides from that course up and go through that with you. And we go through all of this in much greater detail. But you want to research keywords, and you want to put them in your copy. Even if you're doing a video, you want to verbalize the keywords, because believe it or not, YouTube actually transcribes the videos, and the algorithms look for those keywords in your text. Okay, and so you can have ChatGPT write some of that content. You can say include these keywords, which is cool as hell. So you know, but this is the stuff you're going to have to learn to create reach. Okay. Investor meetup groups. I would encourage you to find all the groups that are in your backyard and go there. Meet the people, talk shop, okay? And again, we talked about this, you can create your own meetup group. It's not complicated. If you DM me, I've got a resource I can give you with some notes on how to do that. What does it say below that? We have what? An outline for this. Okay, yeah, perfect. So I'm happy to give it to you. But meetups are incredible. Why? For a lot of reasons, okay? Not just that you're making potential investor connections, but you're learning the business, you're talking shop, you're learning the verbiage, the nomenclature, so that you know what, you can speak about cash on cash and NOI and the DSCR and a lot of these acronyms. You know what all these things mean, so that you sound credible when you're talking to people, and the only way to do that is to have these conversations. So meetups are great for that, and to keep you motivated and be around people that aren't afraid of what you want. They want the same things you want. Peer group is important, guys, especially in what's coming. There's going to be a lot of fear, and I'll be candid. If you haven't done your goals recently, I would encourage you to come to my boot camp to do that. At least the first hour we do goals, because how do you get anything if you don't know what the hell it is, right? You need to know what you want. But if you can't make the boot camp for whatever reason, or you've already been, I did on Rod's links at the bottom is my goal setting workshop that I did on January 1st of this year. I think I did it on the 2nd this year, but I do it every year. It's got my goal, it's got a worksheet you can use. Do it. Get clear on your goals. Have your spouse do it. If your kids are 10 years old or older, have them do it. You know, people spend more time planning a freaking Christmas party than they do designing their lives. That's designing your life. And I'm going to tell you, super important right now, because there's going to be a lot of fear coming. You know, another bank's shutting down right now. Republic Bank is shutting down right now as we speak. Chase is trying to buy it. And so, you know, there's going to be more of that. They're coming. And the headlines are going to be scary. And the news is not there to inform you. Never forget, the news is a commercial enterprise. They need to make money. They make money when they scare the hell out of you, okay? So don't lose sight of that, and that's why goals are so important, so that you're focused on what you want, not what you don't want. So you don't get sucked into all that crap, the politics and all the crap that's on there, which is mostly crap, just so you know. So you know, that you're focused on the good stuff and like the things that you want. So you're driven to do that. Super important, guys. So I can't stress that enough, especially in this period of time that we're going through. Get around people that want more out of life. Get clear on what you want. Get clear on your why, and that's how you're going to capitalize on what's coming. And I'm going to tell you, opportunity is coming. So you're in the right place. All right, let's throw those slides back up. All right, so we talked about meetup groups, a CRM. So let's talk about CRM, and you can leave it up for a minute, but then you can just put me up. So it is critical that you are consistent with your communication. So here's some examples. You can write those down: HubSpot, Insightly, Really Simple Systems, Zoho. I like HubSpot. There's also, what's the other one that some of the warriors like? I can't remember. But anyway, you can Google CRMs. But it's critical that you are organized. Every business is nothing but people and systems, okay? And so the CRM is one of the systems, just like we checklist everything. One of the resources that's in Rod's links is my tool book, and it's got a kind of a checklist of all the things you would do when you due diligence a property. And we checklist everything, and we've greatly even enhanced that. But the point, it's a great starter though, and it's a great tool for you to start learning the business. But the point is, every business is people and systems. You hire the best people and you set up the systems. You've got to have a CRM, because that's going to remind you when you reach out to somebody. You're going to put notes if you talk to an investor and they said, hey, my wife's name's Helen, she's not doing real well right now. So when you talk to them in 3 months, you remember to say, how's Helen doing? Okay? You know, that's just an example. You're capturing those notes. It'll prompt you to put to-dos in and calendar you'll calendar yourself to reach out again, and it'll track your emails and all your communication and all of that. Super critical. Now, of course, once you start raising money, you need a portal, and I wasn't going to get into that today because this, but maybe I should just briefly. If you're really ready to start raising money, you've got to have a portal, and I'm going to tell you the best one that I know out there. It's called Cash Flow Portal. So write that down. Now, if you mention me, you'll get a break, okay? But it's Cash Flow Portal. My Warriors get a deal, but if you mention me, you'll get a deal. But the point is, we've used more than one, and it's the best by far. So, but what is a portal? A portal is how you're going to track the money that comes in, and the percentages in that split when you do a syndication. It'll help you send out the K1s, it'll help you communicate, it'll help you have them sign all the syndication documents. And again, we're going through all this next weekend, but I want to try to give you as much of a framework as I can as I'm talking about this stuff. Excuse me. So we talked about CRM, that's for the marketing, that's for the communication. The portal it helps with the communication, but it's really to help get your documents signed, to help you track the money, help you present a deal, and to send K1s and things of that nature. So it's more after the fact, okay? And if you've got questions about that, feel free to DM me on any social channel at any time, and I'm happy to answer questions about that moving forward. Okay, let's throw the slide. Okay, so CRM, you gotta have a CRM. Okay, so let's talk about defining your niche. And so what do I mean by this? I will tell you, some of the most successful operators I've seen focus on different groups of people to raise money. Okay, like small business owners, like medical professionals, athletes, IT's huge, IT professionals. So think about what business you're in, and are there people that you're communicating with or associated with or friendly with that have money, right? And one of the things that we do is we try to really define who our investor avatar is. It's called an avatar, and you can even name it. This fictional persona that exemplifies the type of investor you're going after. What do they like? What do they dislike? What are they afraid of? Where do they consume their information? Super important. And I will tell you, I just did and find their pain points. Because how are you going to get their attention? You're going to get their attention through pain, just like the news does. And I hate it because I hate the way the news operates, but that's the truth of it. And so, if you can identify what they're afraid of and their pain points, and chat about that in your communication, you'll get their attention. Okay, and then you add value, but you start by defining the pain points, solving the pain points through investing in multifamily. Like a pain point could be, is your money getting eaten up by inflation? Are your returns terrible on the stock market, or have you lost money in the stock market? That would be a pain point. Don't know what to do with your money. The interest rates at the banks are a joke. These are all pain points. And so, these are the things that you focus on for your particular avatar, for your particular segment that you may be going after. Now, you could be a globalist and go after them all, but I'm going to tell you, some of the most successful people I see niche it down. I don't know how to pronounce that, but anyway, you know what I mean. And so, but again, get their attention with pain points, solve those pain points through investing with you, educate them, nurture them, continue to build on that relationship, and you're golden. One of the things you can do also is gifts. Like here's a gift. Put it on me, full bore. Okay, that says Cree Capital. These Yeti cups are fantastic. Now I stole this idea from one of my warriors, one of my successful warriors. He was actually on a panel yesterday, Steve. I got one from him. I'm like, man, that is freaking cool because I love these cups. I mean, this coffee's been in here for 3 hours. It's still hot. And so, gifts like, now that's an expensive gift. So if somebody's invested $100,000 with you, it might be worth it. But even if it's, again, the more value you add, the better, right? I'm sure this makes sense. And, there's also something called the law of reciprocation. Okay, when you give, people expect to give back, and so use that to your advantage. A great book you can read is Influence by Robert Cialdini, spelled Cialdini, and another one of his books is Persuasion. I met him in a mastermind, but a brilliant strategy around influence. Great books for you to read. Again, Influence and Persuasion. Let me just see if I got any questions. I mean, this stuff's pretty standard stuff, but what are some news sources for multifamily market updates? We just created a huge list of those. Kashif, DM me for that. Let me see if I can find that for you, okay? Yes, do Zoom live stream. Yes, better on Zoom. Yep. Looking forward to the next. Oh, thanks, Tracy. You're welcome, Javier. Is it possible to get the yes, Kashif? Just DM me. I'll hook you up. Okay, no other questions. All right, let's throw the slides back up. Okay, so find out as much as you can about who you're going after, so that you can communicate in their language, in their pain, in their solutions. Okay. I hope that makes sense. Okay, so let's talk about the first investor call. And I'll tell you, you'll be scared, whatless, on your first couple of calls. And don't be, okay? Because again, you're just building a relationship. Now, one of the things we've done is as it relates to our business specifically, is we've documented all the questions we've gotten. And you should do the same thing. Because if you ever pass it off to someone else, you'll know how to answer the different questions. Now, these are specific to us, like how long we've been doing it, deals we've done, full cycle. But you're going to want to be able to answer questions about whatever team you align with, or team you build, the experience level, and so on and so forth. So take the time to think about the types of questions you might get. Now, write this down. GP questions. Text, don't do it now, but text GP questions to 72345, and you will get a list of questions that we tell people to ask if they're going to invest with somebody. And so that'll give you a great idea of the things you might get asked, okay? So write that down, GP questions to 72345, and we'll get that to you. But create a list of questions that you might get. But here's the things you want to ask them. So what are their investment goals? If they're used to putting money in an IPO where it's in and out in a year, this is not the investment for them, right? If they're going to need money for their kids' college in 2 years, this is likely not the investment for them. And be careful with this, guys. Even if you think your business model shows you getting out of an asset in 2 or 3 years, don't do that to somebody unless you're certain, okay? I would likely tell people it's going to be 5 to 7 years. And that way you're safe and you're not pissing people off. Now let me say one other super important thing to you as it relates to investors, okay? You want to always underpromise and overdeliver. I can tell you, if you tell somebody they're going to get 8% and they get 8.1%, they're thrilled. If you tell them they're going to get 8% and they get 7.9%, they're pissed, okay? It's that stupid, okay? So I encourage you to always underpromise and overdeliver, because if you get somebody their money back and their returns, I hate to say it like this, but the bottom line is you own them, okay? They aren't going anywhere else, and they'll tell everybody they know, okay? So performance is super important, and so you got to ask them, when do they need their money back, if they need their money back, and just get to know them a little bit. Where do you come from? What have you done? What do you do for a living? And of course your investment goals. And if they're interested, have them fill out a questionnaire to get more information about them. But here's another super important point. If they're an ass, sorry, but that's if they're a real jerk, don't do business with them, okay? Because managing your investors is harder than managing the property. And if you get somebody that's a jerk, you're going to live with them for 5 years. Life is too freaking short, guys, okay? If they're a jerk, just next. Just don't do it. Trust me. Believe me. Ask me how I know. Trust me on that one, okay? So really pay attention to their personality. If they're asking questions, fine. But if they're a pain in the butt questions and they're continual and they're going to be a pain to deal with, just don't do it. It's not worth it. So I know you want the money bad, but trust me, if they're a pain, it's not worth it. Very, very important. But get to know them, build rapport, get to know them, add value to them, and you're off to the races. Okay, let's go ahead and throw the. We'll give it. I'm gonna blow through now, guys. I'm gonna show you a little bit of my social media. This is not to sell the course. I don't care if you buy it or not, honestly. But I'm going to. It's something I did for my warriors. I give it to my warriors, but I threw it on my website. If somebody wants to buy it, they can buy it. And if you do want it, what's it on there for? Can you look for me without crashing anything? I'll give you a great deal if you want it. So let me mention that real quick. What's it on there for? Is it $1,500 or?
It's $24.95.
It's $24.95. All right, if you want it, I'll give it to you for $500. Okay. All right, I didn't know we were selling it for that, but if you want it, I'll give it to you for $500. So anyway, these are some of the slides from that. Okay, so I'm going to blow through this fast because I've got panelists that are going to come on in about 15 minutes or so. Is that right? Yeah. So let me go through some of this, and I'm going to do this fast. But I talk about. Can you push me to the side, Eddie? Oh no, that is all the way to the side, isn't it? Okay, no worries. I'm going to talk about how to do what you need to do in every one of these platforms, and I'm going to blow through the most important ones. Or the first couple are really. I'll try to get to the most important ones as fast as I can. So we're going to talk about Facebook first. So there's lots of different things you can do in Facebook. You can do lives. I go live in Facebook all the time. You can do a poll to get to create engagement. What you want to do is create engagement, okay? You should have a posting schedule where you're posting every day or a couple times a day. You can throw videos in there. You can put text in there. If you look at my Facebook page, you'll see quotes that I put in there. You'll see videos that I put in there. You see lives. You'll see all of this stuff, okay? You can also use Messenger to create engagement. You can also create a group. Okay, so when I'm talking about text, it's best to do that once a day. And that helps you build followers. And you can use inspirational and motivational sayings that people just glance at in the morning. And so text is an important mix-up because most of it's images and video. And you throw a text up there. And I'll tell you, sometimes we get more text engagement from text than anything else we do, believe it or not. Again, I'm blowing through this fast, guys, because I want to get as much of it to you as I can before we bring my panelists on to answer questions. If you got questions, throw them up there. If you got questions about raising capital, throw them up there, okay?
Tell these two people to go to Facebook.
And if you're on YouTube or Instagram, go over to Facebook. Go to Rod's links. Click on that link at the top. Is it the same link?
It's the Facebook link, your Facebook link.
Oh, click on my Facebook link in there. If you're on YouTube or Instagram, click on my Facebook link at Rod's links and get in there and watch me so you can ask me questions, okay? Because I can't do them on Instagram. So if you've done one there, I apologize because I can't see the phones because I'm sitting here. Okay. All right, so we talked about text. Audio, okay? Now, if you start doing interviews, like podcast interviews or YouTube interviews or any interviews of any kind, and you record them, for God's sakes, throw them on Facebook, okay? And they create, of course, and if you're interviewed yourself, oh, absolutely. If you're on a podcast, for God's sakes, get it all, pull clips out and throw them everywhere, including Facebook here. Okay. You can do short educational clips. If you take a look, I think there are probably more of those on my TikTok, but if you take a look at my TikTok, which I've actually turned off on my phone because I get sucked into it too much, but if you take a look at my TikTok, you'll see where I do little 1-minute clips just to try to add a little bit of value. And I'm just trying to give you guys ideas, okay? Of course, video, no question. There's me and my friend Matt right there. And so it shows who you're collaborated with. It gives you social proof. Do your own. If you do your own interviews, put them on there. If you get interviewed, put them on there. Both of that. Okay. Talked about. You can do selfie videos. And by the way, guys, don't think you have to have a professional setup like I've got here. I mean, I've got numerous cameras and lighting all over the ceilings and a screen I could write on back there and a whole audio visual setup up there. You don't need this crap. Do it on your freaking phone. People like that. They like that personal touch, okay? And my team's always telling me, do more freaking phone selfie videos. I'm just not one of these guys that hey, this is what I'm having for breakfast. This is what I'm working out now. I can't do it, but some of you guys will love it. Do it because it creates engagement and people love that stuff. I just don't have the patience for it. But anyway, but you can, okay? But selfie videos are awesome. Again, another thing is newsjacking. Let me talk about newsjacking for a minute. So anytime something major happens in the news, you can do what's called newsjacking, where you speak to it, and it's being followed heavily. Like right now, it would be the Republic Bank closure. I should probably go out and do a freaking video on that. My team would love that. But it's called newsjacking, where you take a relevant current piece of news and you speak to it. You'll see it all the time, where somebody will have a TikTok video and they'll show the original video of what's going on, and they'll be talking off to the side or making facial expressions or whatever to create reach. And you can do the same thing. Now, let me give you one word of caution, and I'll give you some super examples of newsjacking. I don't know if you guys remember when those miners got trapped underground for like a month or some crazy long time. I forget, it was in a Latin American country. They got trapped. And Ray-Ban made a brilliant freaking move, okay? They shipped like whatever it was, 80 pairs of sunglasses, Ray-Ban sunglasses down there, because they knew they'd need them when they came out of the cave, and every one of those miners was wearing a Ray-Ban pair of sunglasses when they walked out, and that was like, actually it wasn't 80 people, but it was an $80 million is what they think they made from that newsjack. I don't know if you remember when the Super Bowl played, and it died like our presentation did today. The Super Bowl did, so I guess that makes me feel better about us, Matt. But the Super Bowl literally blacked out, right? And Oreo within minutes posted, "You can still dunk in the dark." Okay, is that freaking brilliant? Okay, so that's called newsjacking, where you throw a tweet up or you just jump on something that's trending. Highly recommend that. Now, but here's one word of caution: if it's something negative, like a shooting or anything like that, I would probably avoid it, because you can get wrapped into something negative. Just be very, very careful with that, okay? But anyway, hope that helps. Okay, so newsjacking. Let's see. Images, okay? So again, if you can see that top picture where I talk about all the boot camps that I went to. I don't know if you guys can see that on the top screen there. Tiffy and I, with all the boot camps and masterminds that I've gone to, and all the lanyards around my neck, and some of the books. I mean, that's like, I have literally thousands of books, but we threw some books out there too, because that's my education. I never went to college, but things like that. That's a picture. Believing in yourself. That quote. You know, you can grab pictures that don't have costs, that don't cost anything online, and put a quote on them. And it grabs attention. You know, bold lettering, make it real colorful. Things in your personal life. You can even share painful moments. Okay, you see that on Facebook. Sometimes I think it's a little overdone. But if it's something sincere, if you write a really sincere explanation of something that happened to you that was dramatic and painful, especially if there's a message in it, incredibly powerful. You know, so again, people want to see who you are personally as well. Now again, this is to create reach, guys. I know we're talking about raising money, but this is all part of that if you want to create reach. I hope this is helpful. Let me know if this is worth me going through, because I could just try to get the panelists up right now, but I want to, you know, like I say, add as much value as I can to you guys in the time that we have. Okay. Yeah, don't be afraid to share personal pictures. You know, with me, you pretty much know what you got. In fact, probably the word that's used to describe me the most is authentic, because, you know, unfortunately, I don't have much of a filter, and I just say it how it is. And I would encourage you to be yourself, okay? You know, you see these guys leaning up against the Lambo and the houses and the cars and the boats and all that stuff, and you know, a lot of it's complete BS, and candidly, in my opinion, you're not going to get investors that way. Let me just tell you that right now, for sure. Okay, but just be you. Just be you. People want to see you, and when you're communicating with them, if you're not genuine, people can tell. Remember how I told you yesterday, when you're getting into a partnership, trust your gut. If you're not being genuine, their gut's gonna go, something's off here. Okay. And that's what I'm talking about. Remember I said yesterday, your brain is so freaking powerful, it can pick up on these micro nuances that you're not aware of consciously. And if something doesn't feel right, your brain is going, hey, something's off here. And if you are not being you, that's what they're going to feel, okay? So the good, bad, the ugly, you know, just be you, and don't be embarrassed of being you. And and people will respect that. They'll feel your genuineness, they'll feel your authenticity, and they're going to want to be around you, because that's what people want to be around, is people they can relate to. So don't feel like you have to put on this big persona, okay? Don't do that. The more real you are, the more successful you're going to be. In fact, one of the panelists yesterday, I don't know if he's coming back on today, he's obviously watching because he mentioned he saw it on Zoom, Ed, the most down-to-earth guy you'll ever freaking meet. Former drummer, long hair, beautiful human being, incredibly successful in the multifamily real estate space, and he's just the most genuine guy you'd ever meet, and that's what I'm talking about here. You need to do the same thing, okay? Throw the PowerPoint back up. Okay, all right. When you do a description on an image, brevity is helpful, okay? And again, dinner with Tiff. I avoid this. In fact, I did take a picture with Tiff last night at dinner, but you know, I sometimes throw her up just because she's so freaking hot. It gives me social credit. But the bottom line is, I can't do the everyday stuff. But if you can and you're okay with that, you'll build a great following of people that want to see what you're up to. So we talked about this. You know, just whatever you're doing around. I think he put this up here for me more than you guys on there. That's right. That's funny. Matt wrote that up. All right. Let's see. Before, during, ADPI. Okay. What is that? Okay. You can do a poll. Okay. You can ask questions. That creates engagement. That's very powerful. It's been overused a little bit, but if you've got a really good question, like a thought-provoking question, you'll get a ton of people. They even suck me in sometimes, okay? So, you know, if you do scroll social media and you see a good question, capture it and use it a year from now, 6 months from now, whatever. So capture. By the way, the best ideas, guys, are sometimes the ones that are emulated. There's no original thought out there. It's all been emulated. So don't be afraid to capture stuff. If you see somebody that does a kick-ass job with any part of this, like their emails that they send out, like their newsletters that they send out. I've got a whole swipe file where I'll just take an email and pull it down, pull it down, pull it down. And that's just an incredible library of ideas and options for you. And you need to do the same thing, okay? Capture this stuff so that you don't have to reinvent the wheel every time, is my point, okay? And so, yeah, polls are fantastic. Ask questions. What does it say on the bottom part of that? Okay, and that's the other thing. Depending on how they answer a question, you may have the ability to start a conversation. Now, we've been very successful where we'll give away a freebie of some sort of book, and then, you know, I've got a couple of people on my team that will start a conversation in DMs and say, hey, is there anything else we can help you with? You know, is there another resource that you need about the business? Do you listen to Rod's podcast? By the way, we got a boot camp coming up. You know, stuff like, so you can create it, but you can do the same thing with investors. Hey, you know, I saw you got my lead magnet. Have you invested yet? And just start a conversation, and don't sell them. Build a rapport and build a relationship. That's been very powerful for us, by the way. And you can do the same thing. Are the panelists here?
3 of them.
3 of them? Okay, we'll wait just another minute. Okay. Yeah, this is one I fail at. I try to go live every Wednesday night, and I miss a lot of these because, like, I'm just wiped out sometimes. But I'm going live this Wednesday. I'll probably do an Ask Me Anything again or something like that. I teach something, but Facebook Lives are fantastic. But you know, obviously you've got to build up your courage in some cases. You know, build up your what it is you're going to talk about, have some notes, be ready to talk about this. And I prepare for most of my things, not for my Ask Me Anythings, but when I'm teaching something, I prepare, I script things out, I do bullet points, or I do a PowerPoint or something like that, so that, you know, so it's well thought out and it's a quality piece. Now, that said, you can definitely do a live from your freaking phone and ad-lib it. I mean, you know, there are people out there that are fantastic at that. Grant Cardone is probably an example of that. And you know, I like to have a little prep work first, but do we have any questions coming? You guys got any questions about raising money? Okay, Dave, you should attend Rod's boot camp. Oh, thank you, my friend. I appreciate that, brother. Okay, very helpful. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay. Okay, we got some questions here. Okay, go ahead and let's pull the panelists up. I hope that some of that social stuff helped. I only got through some Facebook stuff, but hope that added some value to you guys. Hey, what's going on, brother? Shannon, good to see, good to see you. Who else we got? Noel, Eric, okay. And keep an eye out if there's somebody else popping in later. Good to see you guys. Hey, who is? Ahmad? Okay, wonderful, wonderful. Let me turn this up a little bit. I'm hearing you guys great. Okay. Hey, we've got 3 of my kick-ass warriors on right now, and I'm gonna ask them questions. But let me have them. If you guys could self-introduce, because I didn't have your stats in front of me. Forgive me. This was a little more ad hoc than normal. So we'll start with Shannon. Yeah. And how much have you raised? Because I remember we talked about that at the Warrior event. I was so shocked by how much you'd raised. Boom. Awesome. I'm glad you're here. You are perfect for this presentation. Noel. Good to see you, bud. Sure. Are you out of country or out of town, or where are you? Wow. Sure, sure. Mm. Wow. Awesome, 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 awesome. Glad you're here, buddy. Thanks for staying up for us. Hamat, can you hear us yet? Not yet. Okay, hey, buddy. Yes, sir. Glad you're here.